Over the years, I've observed many Spanish students speaking Spanish too quickly. Eons ago, when I was a university Spanish teacher, I observed this in a handful of students in every class I taught. And on the occasions when I accompanied groups of students on study abroad programs, there were always a few who made an effort to speak fast. I think some students do this as the result of a misperception of how fast natives speak. When you're in the early stages of the learning process, it may seem to you that native speakers of your foreign language speak very quickly. You hear them using vocabulary and grammar forms you're familiar with, and you feel that you should be understanding them better than you are, but you're still not able to keep up with them. By the time you've deciphered one sentence, they're a couple of sentences ahead of you. One natural conclusion is that they're speaking very quickly, but that's not generally the case. What's really happening is that your listening comprehension is not yet as good as it could be, and you're simply taking too long to decode and decipher what they're saying. The problem isn't that they're speaking quickly, it's that you're listening slowly. Another thing that contributes to the perception that natives speak very quickly is that even when students know basic Spanish phonetics, which they often don't, they're still usually completely unaware of Spanish phonology, how the sounds of the language are pronounced differently, depending on the other sounds that surround them in a word or phrase. So when they hear natives applying ordinary Spanish phonology, it may sound to them, because they don't know better, like natives are pronouncing sounds imprecisely. What's more, there are many Spanish dialects that reduce or omit some sounds, like S's at the ends of syllables. Both students of Spanish and native speakers of other dialects have to pay more attention in order to understand and keep up with speakers of such dialects. And these native speakers develop a reputation for speaking very quickly, even when they don't pronounce more words per time interval than anyone else. Again, the issue isn't that these natives are speaking particularly quickly, it's that Spanish students, and even speakers of other dialects, are listening slowly. Discussions of who speaks Spanish the fastest are common, and both students and native speakers enjoy ranking dialects according to perceived speed, and it should come as no surprise that those dialects that are most often characterized as spoken quickly are those that employ more marked dialectal features, while those that are thought of as spoken more slowly sound more like what people call standard or neutral. So it isn't actually that they're speaking very quickly, in the sense of producing more words per minute, but that listeners have to pay closer attention to keep up with them. Okay, so the point is that at a certain stage of their progress, some students arrive at the conclusion that native speakers of their foreign language talk fast, and they conclude, consciously or unconsciously, that if they want to sound native-like, they should talk fast. And this is the interesting thing. They come to see speaking quickly as a positive value. I want to have a big vocabulary, use good grammar, and talk fast. A consequence of holding this value is that when other people comment that these students talk fast, they take it as a compliment, and this reinforces their commitment to talking fast. But of course, the rate at which you speak is only an obvious feature of your speech when you're doing it abnormally. When you speak at an ordinary pace, speed isn't something anybody notices. So when people mention that you talk fast, you shouldn't take it as a compliment. What they're saying is that a feature of your speech that should be unnoticeable is actually intruding in your delivery in such a way that it's distracting and makes it harder for them to follow you. While I believe that this is the main reason why people speak quickly, there may be other reasons. I've known people who try to use speed as a way of covering up for other shortcomings. For example, students who aren't sure whether they should be using the subjunctive in a particular spot may speak quickly and reduce the vowel in the unstressed word ending. So instead of having to decide between, say, pueden and puedan, they'll pronounce it pueden. Most native Spanish speakers understand this pronunciation with a little effort, and the student experiences success in communicating, which reinforces for them that they've done the right thing, and they make this strategy a permanent part of their speech. This is just one example of ways someone may use speed and imprecise pronunciation to compensate for other shortcomings. As I mentioned, I've been a teacher to many students who've tried to speak Spanish too fast, and I've observed their responses when other people mention it to them. By far the most common response is, "Oh, that's just the way I talk. I talk fast when I speak English too." First of all, no you don't. You really don't. But even if that really were your normal way of speaking, this isn't a rational response. Imagine if you were an actor auditioning for a part, and after you'd read a few lines, the casting director said, "Whoa, slow down, you're reading that way too fast. Those lines need to be delivered slowly and clearly with passion and emotion." And then you responded with, "Oh, that's just the way I talk. I always talk fast." Would the casting director say, "Oh, never mind then, it's fine, you get the part"? No, he wouldn't. Delivering your lines too quickly is a deal breaker, regardless of your explanation for why you do it. And the same is true for speaking your foreign language. Speaking your foreign language too quickly is still speaking your foreign language too quickly, even if that's how you feel you normally speak. Let me end this discussion with what I think are some of the best reasons for why you should make every effort to speak Spanish, or whatever foreign languages you're studying, at a normal pace. First is that natives don't actually talk particularly fast, even if they sound that way to you. Even if the speakers of one dialect sound fast to the speakers of other dialects. Researchers have found that on average, Spanish speakers speak about 1.5 syllables per second faster than English speakers, or about 20% faster. So there's a difference, but it's just not that big of a difference. Any two randomly selected speakers of the same language would be expected to speak with similar differences in speed. What's more, this difference may be explained simply by the fact that English is a stress-timed language while Spanish is a syllable-timed language. Second, even if your vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation were all perfect, you make it more difficult for others to understand you when you speak unusually fast. There's a pace at which most people speak, and it's that pace that's the easiest for listeners to understand. When you speak faster than that, it places a burden on your listeners. That burden is increased when you're a non-native speaker because you don't have perfect vocabulary, grammar, and pronunciation. Native listeners are already making an additional effort to understand your pronunciation, decipher your vocabulary, and decode your grammar. A third reason is that deficiencies in your pronunciation are amplified when you speak quickly. It requires a certain amount of thought, effort, and concentration to accurately pronounce the sounds of your foreign language. Challenging the dexterity of your mouth and the agility of your brain by speaking quickly certainly doesn't improve your pronunciation or anything else about your speech. I often tell language students to imagine that they're a musician and their foreign language is their instrument, or that they're a stage actor and their language is their character. If you were a performer, you'd dazzle your audience with the beauty of your notes or the artistry with which you delivered your lines, not their speed. The same thing holds for the pronunciation of your foreign language. All right. That's the end of this rant. If you've enjoyed it or learned something from it, please give this video a like and share it with a friend, and don't forget to subscribe for more content.